All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Rich Cerone, and my partner is Shriya Patel, and we worked on the Newark Fulfillment Centers, or the NFC application for this semester.
Hi everyone. So like Rich mentioned, I'm just going to go ahead and give you a little overview about our application and what are the things that we accommodated in our project to make this NFC actually functional and up and running. So just to give you a basic overview, so Newark Fulfillment Centers is basically a series of warehouses that also provides like services to customers as well as the merchants who do not possess like a suitable space to host their inventory. And so NFC kind of stores and processes all of these orders on behalf of the merchants, and they ship the orders to the end customers. And so the merchants kind of rely on the system to keep track of their inventory, and this is why we came up with this NFC application. So to go in a little more detail, I would say that we have a list of components like the manage warehouses, manage merchants, manage merchant inventory, and customer portal that kind of take care of their own aspects of this application. Now, in case of managed warehouses, we have we can actually assign employees to the warehouses, send invoices to the customers, fulfill the orders, and manage the storage accordingly. And in case of managed merchants, we can like add merchants to the system, view the merchants' details, and then we also have a manage merchant inventory, which would create products, edit the products, edit rates, and pay bills accordingly. And we also have something called as customer portal, which is more to the customer facing side, and wherein a customer can simply go and view the products that the customer has ordered, can put those orders in the cart and check out. But just a note, customer actually has to sign up in order to be able to use the customer portal application. So this is a basic overview of our application, and you'll kind of know more about it as we make some progress on this. Yeah, next slide, Rich. Right. So approaching the problem, so we were actually given like a set of requirements, like the initial set of requirements, which were not kind of sufficient enough to give us that particular like a firm requirement set wherein we could actually go and create like an ER diagram or a relational model diagram. So we actually waited until we got a firm set of requirements before we kind of actually dived into creating those ER diagrams and relational models, but we actually kind of followed a rapid prototyping approach wherein we could make the changes. Like if there were any changes to the requirement, we could just go in and do the same. So, and we also, there was also a possibility of scope creep. So we had to make sure that doesn't affect our application. So we made sure we were like, we did not have to make a lot of changes to the code or the diagrams or the relational models either in order to keep the application running.
Okay. So just to go to a little more detail of how we designed our application. So like Shriya said before, we got basically a 2-page requirements document, which was the initial requirements. And we knew that that wasn't really the firm set of requirements. It was basically the general overview of the application. So we took advantage of that to start really designing out the different features that were being asked for. And we tried to encompassate all that into sort of this vision of what we wanted the application to be like. And we did that because we didn't want to get into a scenario where we just made some quick assumptions saying, well, he's probably not going to ask for this, he's probably not going to ask for that. And then, it winds up being in the final set of requirements. And now we have to kind of scramble to enter in all that functionality and design it again. So we kind of held off originally on the ER diagram, and we said, well, let's take our general requirements. Let's break them out into different feature sets. And then let's sort of create these loose models, and which will go into the next slide. So that was kind of our design process, was instead of going into an ER diagram and saying, well, we have warehouses, we have warehouse storage, we said, well, let's try and kind of just create these loose data models and then just identify the relationships that were given to us in those general requirements. And we were able to do that. We were able to say, well, we have warehouses, we know we're going to have to be able to manage the storage, so that's a separate entity. We know we have employees, that's a separate entity. And we kind of just broke everything down as much as we could. We even came up to the decision. We were saying, do we need to worry about logging in? It doesn't say in the initial requirements, but we said, well, realistically, we knew we had two different types of customers. We had, these merchants, which in the initial requirements were just mentioned as customers, and then we also had these other customers who were coming in to buy stuff. So we said, well, we're probably going to need at least to have a login for those customers who are kind of like, if you think about Amazon, you log in and you buy products. So those are just sort of the things that we kept in mind as we were designing this application. So probably just a little bit before we got the firm set requirements, we really started to put together the ER diagram. We still didn't do any coding at this point. But we had enough information to really kind of dive into the programming. We kind of had a firm set of what our data models were going to look like. And because we used Django and we used Python, we used that whole framework, it was a lot easier to sort of just go into that models file and just say, okay, here's my warehouses. These are the fields I'm going to have, because we sort of initially broke that all out in the beginning. And then as time went on and we had to add stuff because there were things that had to change when we got the final set of requirements, it was a lot easier to sort of pivot and prevent getting to a scenario that said, oh my God, we don't have that design. We didn't think about that. So we really tried to go above and beyond for the database design of what could possibly be needed, so that when we got the final set of requirements, we could say, okay, this is what we have to do. Okay, so now we're going to do the application demo. Just give me a minute. Yeah, right here. Okay. Let me start from the beginning. So this is the main page. Again, this is done in Python, Django. We use Bootstrap 4.5 to create, kind of a sleek view of our application. So the main page is pretty much coming in at the admin perspective of this Newark fulfillment center system. So we have our warehouses. We list out all the warehouses, the information, just a general overview, and then we could click on it and get those details. So we have the storage details. So we could see that we have this much remaining storage. We have 150 shelves when this was last updated in UTC time. The way we approach the storage for application is we basically kind of made it simple. So we created a global table with these global variables that we could edit in kind of behind the scenes, and essentially say, well, for each shelf we have maybe 5 units of storage, right? So each shelf has a certain number of units it can hold, and a product makes up that number of units. So maybe I have a product that takes up, if I have a product that takes up 5 units of storage, I take up an entire shelf essentially. We just did that for simplicity of managing the storage in the system. We have our merchants table here. So we can see which merchants store in our warehouse. So we have 2 companies here. We can view the details of that company, right? We can see if they're selling on our platform, if they're using storage on our platform, what they're selling on our platform in the table. We could send them invoices, which we'll do later on in the demo. And that's essentially sending them the bill for whatever they have to pay for that they use on our platform. Same thing. This is an order that hasn't been shipped yet. And again, we could view this order. We could see who ordered it. It was me. What product they ordered or products that they ordered. And the same thing with employees. We can see who's working in this warehouse. We can assign an employee. We can also assign an employee. So here we have an employee that's unassigned, and we can assign them to this warehouse. And now we can see that there's no employees currently unassigned. There's no one to assign. And if we go back, we could see that we have Kathy Lynn now, who's a part of this warehouse. We'll go into the fulfill later. So the next section of this application is our inventory management. Again, this is coming in from like the admin perspective of this entire system. So this is essentially managing merchants. So we have here, again, the two companies that already exist, and we can also add a merchant. So if we want to add a new merchant to our system, we obviously can't just, add a blank merchant. We put in some front-end validation here so that they have to enter in the data. So we'll create another company, and we'll just say the test company. And we'll put Bob Dylan. We'll say they're from New York. New York. And we'll make up a street, I don't know, 80th Street, apartment, or let's say, I don't know, warehouse 12. And I think this is New York City zip code. And we'll just say they're a seller and that they use storage, and we'll add that merchant. And now we created this merchant. And if we go back, we can see we now have this merchant in here. We can see that there's no products under them. They're not leveraging any of our storage yet. And we can see their default rates, obviously no orders under them yet. So if we go to the laser company here, we can see they already have a product. They're using our storage. It lists which warehouse they're using. We could see their rates, and every merchant has a unique rate tied to them. And we did that on purpose because we figured in real life, if you're a big customer on a platform, you might have more leverage. You might want to negotiate with that platform. Maybe they bring in a lot of business, so maybe you cut them a deal and you tell them, for their fulfillment rate, or if you go in, maybe you say, well, for your fire sale rate, this is essentially if there was like a flash sale, we'll make it like 80%, so they'll get another 10% back. So we, instead of selling their products at 90% discount, if they want to just kind of make a clearance sale, they could sell their products at an 80% discount and get maybe a little more money back, and we could save that. And now if we go back, we can see that their fire sale rate is 80%. And now we can see the orders that they made and not yet shipped. And there's some similar data in different sections. We tried to make it so that you don't have to do as much clicking to get all the data that you might need. So we try to think about what data they would need for each page that's necessary for this application, for what they want to do. Just another unique thing too, if I go back here, the beach company here, they actually are storing in two places, right? They have storage in Brooklyn and they have storage in Newark. So it takes that into account too, that a merchant might be storing products in two different locations. Okay, so next is the merchant inventory management. And again, realistically here, you would probably want to be able to log in and then be logged in as a merchant. But for the sake of the demo and for the simulation, just to make things a little bit more streamlined and easier to show, you could just select a company. So we can see the new company that we created. So if you select the laser company here, this would be me logging in as this merchant, John Laser, and I could see what products that I am selling, and I could search those products, and then I can view their details. I can edit these products. Maybe I want to add to the description ray gun. It's really powerful. And save. Maybe I want to go and just view the product details. I could do that. I could add a new product, and I could select which warehouse I want to put in. I'll just leave Newark, and maybe I want to add a new, I want to add a laser gun 2. I'm going to say it takes up 3 units. It's $200. And if I try to create this, obviously it's going to complain. I'll just say, I don't know, I'd say it's black. Let me see the size description. I'll say medium-sized new ray gun. We'll make up a model number. We'll say 02. We'll enter in some vendor information. So maybe it's by different one. We'll say Laser Gun Co. We'll say they're from New York. can't type. New York and New York. Maybe this vendor's on 33rd Street. And we'll say we have maybe 10 of these, and we'll create it. So now we have this new product. So if we go in here, we can see we now have a new laser gun that we could purchase. So go to merchant inventory management. We showed that. So now we can show the customer sign-in. So here we actually do have a sign-in. We're not doing anything special with the password for this, just for the sake of the demo. It's just going to store the passwords as plain text. Realistically, we want to hash these passwords, and then we can sign up. So I'll sign up as Shriya in this case, and I'll just say Shriya P. I'll enter a password. No middle initial. I'll just make up. I'll just say Newark. 2, 3, and I don't know the zip code for Newark. And we'll just sign up. And we can sign in as her. But actually, I'm going to sign in as myself for this demo because I have an order already. So you can see this is an order I made before. So now I want to make a new order. So I'm going to view the store here, and I'm going to add this to my cart essentially. And obviously, if we go here, we can see they show up, but they don't have anything to browse. So we'll have to come back later for that. We go to checkout, and what we'll see is the purchase amount. In this case, we qualify for free shipping, so there's no extra amount that we owe. And then I can buy this product, and now I've checked out. So if I go here, I can see I now have my new order. If I go to my warehouse management, I go here, and I look at my orders, I see that I have an order here for my laser gun still. The beach order should have gone to the other warehouse, but I'm going to fulfill this order here. And the way we fulfill orders here is we were originally going to have it where we select a employee to fulfill it, but in real life we figured, realistically there'd be some automation in place. So we actually just take which employees are available and we randomly assign them to the order. So I'm going to hit fulfill, and I generate now this random basically this GUID for the tracking number. And if I go and view it, I could see it was fulfilled by John Doe, who is working in this warehouse. If we go here, we can see here's John Doe. So it just randomly picked John Doe in that case. So now this has been shipped. And so what we'll do now is we'll send an invoice, and I'm going to send the invoice to John Laser. So now I sent him an invoice, and if I go to that merchant inventory management, and I select it, and I look at my balances, I can see I now have a new balance, right? This invoice wasn't paid yet. And I could pay it, and now I paid it. So if I go back, you could see now that it's paid. So that's essentially the application. Overall, it was a really good experience. I personally haven't worked with Django in a very long time, so it was a little bit of a challenge to get familiar with it again and use it again. And overall, it was a good project. You can also see here's the other order actually for the beach ball because they go to here. So we should be able to fulfill this order and have a tracking number. This was fulfilled by Rachel Taylor. I think there's only one employee in this warehouse, so it's just going to pick that one, right? And then we could send an invoice to them and then pay it. But that's essentially it for this application. So again, thank you, and we appreciate your time.